precise question. Was it fruitful for our nation, for our people? And we celebrate the answer today. For today, we keep the day of all the local, national saints. Here we can, for example, people celebrate majority, maybe of Orthodox people, celebrate the saints of North America. And we celebrate together with them the saints of our forefathers, the saints of Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, all the slaving saints of Poland, Austria, Hungary, Moldavia, Romania, and beyond. So too in Greece, they celebrate all the Greek saints. In China, India, they check Chinese and Indian artists. And this reveals to us and to the entire world holiness in time and space, even in some certain place, among some certain people. Today, our the Church, in her wisdom, wants us to understand clearly that holiness is not limited by anything, except perhaps our own rejection. In whatever place we are, in whatever sanctuary we live, neither the special cross of life that we carry, nor our special calling in this life can separate us from the love of God and from life. As we see from the list of all local saints, Russian, American, they include patriarchs, metropolitans, archbishops, bishops, priests, mothers, princes, slaves, righteous monks, pious lay people, men and women, and even children, every possible position and occupation in the Church. And in this world is represented in the Feast of All Saints. Saint Patriarch Tikhon, the Enlightener, and then the Confessor, but also the Holy Mother Peter the Immolate, one of the book of sealed other hundreds, and then the Holy and Great One. People of every occupation and walk of life. Whatever we do in this life or in the Church, we have examples of holiness before us. Looking to them, we are encouraged in times of temptation. But then, what is this holiness? And in the Gospel reading of All Saints, just last Sunday, we heard words that might trouble even faithful churchgoers. Such words: "He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." The same Gospel reading. How can this be? For parents are to their children and children to their parents the most precious thing a person can have. Now, how then we are to understand these words of Christ writing? Of course, they do not call us to stop loving our parents, our children, our loved ones. But we all remember how the fall of Adam began. It began when he chose love for Eve, his wife, over love for God. Then loved another human being more than shows again and again many sins and transgressions were committed allegedly out of love. Husband, wife, children, people. And today's gospel reading is no less a trial. The Lord said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they immediately left their nets and followed him. The other apostles, they left their nets, boats, and their farm. Though we know, figuratively speaking, not all the saints had to leave their nets. These are the greatest of human attachments, family and possession. The greatest comfort of this life. It was precisely these two that once prompted the Lord to declare 2 times. With men, he said, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. So we might be tempted to define holiness simply as an inability, but it would be much easier if just an inability. But it is more than that. It's more precisely, it is a resistance, an active resistance to the temptation to fill our life with anything except God. Or it is the voluntary suffering of pain and fear, of always carrying a dissatisfaction with our natural life, always an incompleteness, a fearful and uncomfortable gap in our natural sacred bond, sometimes creating ourselves, where we would store up our earthly security. As once was said, one priest, it is a fearful thing to meet the God who is love. So it is the refusal to let ourselves be satisfied with any kind of natural things. This is that blessed and only gap where the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, can come and abide in us. Again, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. With the example and the holy praise of the God-bearing saints, whose memory we celebrate